Right guys, hands up if that's your short game, and if so, should we be putting a chipper in the bag? Let's discuss. Right guys, so let's talk chippers. Chipper talk has definitely been doing the golf rounds over the past 6 months. So I wanted to give one a go for myself and see what it was actually like. So I borrowed this one off a good friend of mine earlier today, so come straight here to Bondi Golf Club. So I won't name him or potentially name and shame him, but wanted to put this through its paces today. So let's talk spec. So this is the Ping Chipr. It is 38.5 degrees in loft, so pretty much similar to a 9-iron. So in terms of length against my regular 9-irons, actually a little bit shorter, but what the club does do is it sits more upright, allowing for what they say you can use more the putter style technique. As we look down from above, slightly offset, the toe line is definitely not as thick as I thought. It's actually a really good looking club from above. You can't see the thickness and the forgiveness as you lay the club down. So with the chipper, it obviously comes with a large sole, which will help with forgiveness when the ground is wet, harder. If you're struggling to control low point, definitely a lot more forgiving. We can hit behind the ball and that sole will kick in. So I could use it with my normal 9-iron, but compared to my regular 9-iron, the sole is probably 30-40% wider. So if the compact lies, the wet lies fill you with dread, I can see why the chipper could potentially be a go-to club. So we're going to put it through its paces, we're going to test it from different lies, see whether it comes into its own and see whether the chipper is potentially worthwhile going in your bag. So who is the chipper actually aimed for? From my opinion, I would say definitely at beginners. As for those who don't really understand the short game just yet, I can see why it would really simplify, where we can use that putting motion. The extra wide sole makes it super forgiving. So I can definitely see the reason for that. The only downside is that will then become one-dimensional. So definitely for beginners, but also for those who are struggling with the short game in terms of confidence and technique. If we really don't know how to use the different parts of the traditional wedge, the front, the mid, the rear part of that wedge, to use the difference part of the bounce, if we don't understand that, the wet lies, especially from the wettest winter, become a lot more difficult. The compact lies, bare lies, if we don't know how to use the toe down, get the club under, all the different techniques which I've gone through in past videos. So have a look at the past videos to use different parts of the wedge to play different shots with the wedges. I can see why people would go to this. So I'd definitely say beginners and people who lack confidence or technique wise, the chipper could be the one too. But let's have a hit. I've not hit this club ever before, so let's just see how it feels. Again, sets up really nicely behind the ball. I don't have to go toe up for my basic chip and run. People can use the putting technique. What I use, I call the left hip release. So I have my shoulders level, weight on the left, I'm pivoting, and I finish with my left hip release here. I don't let the club go. So that would be my basic chip and run. Very similar to the putting style, but that's what I use. So let's have a go. Weight on the left, let's hit a couple of chips and see what it feels like. Oh. Oh. First shot feels really nice. Can definitely tell the brand new grooves. I definitely need to upgrade my wedges and clubs because the grooves are getting a little bit worn out, but first ever shot feels really nice, soft off the face. I could actually feel the spin. Obviously this is just a nice pair lie where from here I'd probably use my 50-degree pitching wedge. I would use the chip and run, but what I noticed straight away from here is it's so forgiving. I actually hit about an inch behind the ball there, and the club, because of the wide sole, doesn't dig, glides across. So as I said, if you can't control your low point, you've got a lot more margin for error. So here I'm going to try and hit this 2-3 inches behind the ball and see what happens with it. Again, wow, going. So super impressive from that. I've actually hit about 2.5 inches behind the ball. The club's just glided. Again, I've not dug, just used my putting stroke, left hit, release, that big wide sole. So if you haven't got the chipper, that's when I would just use my 9 iron, which has got a wider sole anyway. So if it's a bit wet underground, you want to use that wider sole. So the chipper with its even wider sole. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to hit here, I'm going to aim 2-3 inches behind the ball, which obviously we wouldn't want to do ideally, but that's what this club is for, to help with forgiveness. Wow. Wow. See my entry point. So first results from a really good lie. Super, super impressive. Put a bit of spin on that one. Oh, go in. Oh, tell you what, I might be keeping this club. So in terms of other situations around the green, the chipper could definitely be useful. We've seen from a nice standard chip and run lie, the chipper absolutely fine from there. Here we have a compact bare lie, which would fill a lot of people with dread. Can't get the wedge to go under if you do it normally. So how I would adjust this one, but this is where the golfing IQ and technique comes in, I would actually go toe down and I would swing out to in to get my 58-degree wedge to go under that ball, still get it popping, loaded with spin. But with the chipper, as we've said earlier, it's already come that it's upright. So I'm going to play this one as the club lies itself, no adjustment, play exactly the same shot what I did on the previous hole. Use this big sole. Again, little heavy. So forgiving. 5-foot putt back up the hill. I can see why some people call this a cheat club. Wow, that's spun. You can hear the nip on that one. Wow, so good. I can see why they're gaining popularity. Right. So I'm going to adjust this one to how I would. I'm going to go even more upright. See what it's like. Toe down, even though it's all upright. Swing out to him. There you go. Added a lot more spin onto that one. Let's go super bare. Again, toe down, out to him. Oh. So spinny. Wow. Chipper from tight lies, cheat club. So let's see how the chipper performs when it's in the rough, buried down. Here we're downwind, we've short sided ourselves, the pins at the. So to get this close is already difficult. How I would play this normally, I would be using loft, I would come in steeper, hit behind the ball and keep the loft on to let it pop. I want to hit it so there's the least amount of grass between the club and the club face to give it a chance to still come out with spin. So I would play this with a 54, 58, and a steepen weight on the left and chop down on this a bit to let it pop still. So it pops up loaded with spin. This is how we'll see the chipper performs. Right, so let's try it with the chipper. I'm not going to adjust anything, I'm not going to open the face. I'm going to play as the guys who are using the chipper would play, and we'll see how it reacts. It's harder to get to that ball because there's grass behind the ball. So let's play the same shot and see what happens. So there, as you can see, there's not enough loft on the club. The club's got through. The grass okay. I had a slightly firmer left-hand grip to make sure it doesn't tangle, but there's no way I can stop that ball to a front pin. So this for me is where you come into the downsides of the chipper, as we've said. So this is where the chipper becomes one-dimensional and it won't give us enough solutions for all the situations we find ourselves from around the green. So again, what I would have to do with the chipper here is to really open the face. I'd have to drop the hands and go out to in a little bit to try to get this. Definitely a bit more spin on that, but I would not want to be playing that with the chipper. That's where I need to learn my release 2, my release 3, and use the 58-6° wedge. So my initial thoughts from hitting this for the first time, actually really like the club, it looks really good, feels nice on the club face. Definitely feel the heavier club face, which if we're just using the putting style, I definitely don't mind that feeling. I can feel the head and where it is and what it's doing. It just feels easier to use gravity and the pendulum. Obviously definitely limiting with shots we can play, but I can still use this with different spins. I could soon learn this to hit, say, cut spins. There you go, left to right spin. I could play the draw spin. There we go, right to left spin. So you can still play around with spin. So we're accessing pins, using slopes on the greens. So forgiving, I don't have to worry or even be thinking about low point. I know if I'm trying to hit just behind that ball, the sole of the club is gonna do its job. So cut spin, draw spin, go neutral. Definitely impressive how easy it makes that shot. So in terms of a chip and run, the chipper definitely does its job. Right guys, so let's have a bit of fun in the bunker. Can we use the chipper in the bunker? So it's the 9-iron shot with lots of sole, which is a bit compacty sand here, so I don't really want bounce on this one. So let's have a go. Feels like I'm to play the 74-iron, so face wide open, feels like it's pointing over there. Really got to drop the hands, keep the weight left. Let's try and pop this sand. Can we chipper from the sand? Oh, I tell you what. Oh, chipper from the sand, no problem. Right guys, that was my fun little review of the Ping Chipr. So would I put a chipper in my bag? No, I definitely wouldn't. I like to pride myself that I have a pretty decent short game. So should you be putting the chipper in the bag? You could definitely play with it, but I think for 130 to 170 pounds, you would be better off booking a couple of lessons and learning how to use the different parts of the bounce to elevate your golf and your short game. Or give this little video a little watch in the top right corner. So I hope you enjoyed that guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So chipper, yes or no?